The alarm blares. It's 4:55 a.m. The world outside is dark, silent, and cold. But you have a promise to keep, a promise to yourself. You've read the books, you've seen the videos. This is the hour of titans, the secret of CEOs. This is your first day in the 5 a.m. club. Fast forward 3 weeks. That alarm feels less like an invitation and more like an accusation. You're exhausted, you're behind on sleep, and the only thing you're mastering is the snooze button. If this sounds familiar, you need to hear this. You are not lazy. You are not undisciplined. You've just been sold a flawed map to a very real destination. The brutal truth is that the 5 a.m. club has an astonishingly high failure rate. And it's not because people lack ambition, it's because it's built on a complete misunderstanding of how human motivation and willpower actually work. In this video, we're not just going to tear down that myth, we're going to build a new, scientifically backed system in its place. A system that works with your brain, not against it, to help you forge the path you truly deserve. The myth of brute willpower. So why does this well-intentioned advice fail so spectacularly for so many people? It's because the entire philosophy is based on what I call the brute force method. The idea is that if you just force yourself, if you just white-knuckle it and push through the pain, you'll eventually break through and discipline will become effortless. It's a romantic idea. It's the stuff of training montages in movies. But in the real world, it's a recipe for burnout. Relying on brute willpower to build a habit is like trying to start a fire by rubbing 2 sticks together in a rainstorm. It's possible, sure, but you're making it astronomically harder than it needs to be. You're fighting friction, you're fighting the environment, and you're depleting your energy with every failed attempt. Here's the first mindset shift you need to make. Willpower is not a moral virtue. It is a finite neurological resource. Think of it like the battery on your phone. Every single decision you make throughout the day, no matter how small, drains a tiny bit of that battery. From choosing your clothes, to deciding what to eat for breakfast, to figuring out which email to answer first, each choice is a small withdrawal. The 5 a.m. club, with its brute force approach, asks you to make the single biggest willpower withdrawal of the day, forcing yourself out of a warm bed into a cold, dark room before your day has even begun. You're starting your day with your battery already at 50% and then wondering why you can't focus on deep, meaningful work an hour later. It's a logical failure from the very start. Decision fatigue, the invisible barrier. This brings us to our first scientific principle, decision fatigue. Researchers have studied this phenomenon extensively. A famous study looked at judges making parole decisions. They found that judges were far more likely to grant parole at the beginning of the day than at the end. It wasn't because the later cases were worse. It was because the judge's capacity for making thoughtful, complex decisions had been depleted. They were suffering from decision fatigue. When the mental battery gets low, our brain defaults to the easiest option, which in the judge's case was to say no and stick with the status quo. For you, that easiest option when your willpower is drained is hitting snooze, scrolling your phone, or skipping the workout. The 5 a.m. club fails because it doesn't account for this. It burns your best mental fuel on the least important decision of the day, simply getting up. The very energy you were supposed to use for journaling, meditating, or strategic planning is already gone. It's a logical failure from the very start. So here's the actionable strategy. Design a zero decision morning. Your goal is to automate your first 60 minutes so your brain can run on autopilot, conserving that precious willpower battery for the work that truly matters. This means the night before, you 1. Lay out your clothes. Whether it's your work outfit or your gym gear, have it ready. No choosing. 2. Prepare your breakfast or coffee. Have the mug out, the coffee machine ready, or your overnight oats in the fridge. No thinking. 3. Define your one priority task. Don't wake up to a vague to-do list. Know the single most important thing you need to accomplish and have the tools for it ready. Your notebook open to a blank page, the document loaded on your computer. By eliminating these small, trivial decisions, you're not just saving time. You are actively preserving your peak cognitive energy for deep work. You're reserving your best self for your biggest goals. But even if you perfectly manage your willpower and eliminate every decision, there's a fundamental law of physics that most 5 a.m. enthusiasts completely ignore. A law that explains why starting is always the hardest part and how we can hack it to make our habits feel effortless. The activation energy trap. In chemistry, there's a concept called activation energy. It's the minimum amount of energy required to start a reaction. Think about striking a match. The wood of the matchstick holds a lot of potential energy, but it won't burst into flame on its own. It needs that initial burst of energy from the friction of the strike. That's the activation energy. Building a new habit works the exact same way. The 5 a.m. club sets an impossibly high activation energy. The goal isn't just wake up, it's wake up, meditate for 20 minutes, journal for 20 minutes, and exercise for 20 minutes. When your half-asleep brain contemplates that massive mountain of effort, it's overwhelming. The activation energy is too high, so your brain does what it's designed to do: conserve energy. It convinces you to stay in bed. The secret to consistency isn't more motivation. It's lowering the activation energy so that starting feels ridiculously easy. Here's the action step: the 10-minute rule. Whatever your new morning habit is, shrink it down to its smallest, least intimidating version. Instead of run 5 kilometers, your goal is put on your running shoes and walk for 10 minutes. Instead of write 1,000 words, your goal is open the document and write for 10 minutes. Instead of meditate for 30 minutes, your goal is sit on the cushion and focus on your breath for 2 minutes. Anyone can do something for 10 minutes. The activation energy is almost zero. But here's the magic: an object in motion stays in motion. Once you started walking, you'll often find you want to keep going. Once you've written a paragraph, the next one comes easier. You're building momentum, not forcing discipline. Okay, so we're managing our willpower and we're making our habits easy to start. But what if the entire premise that 5 a.m. is the magical hour for success is fundamentally wrong for your body? There's a biological secret locked in your DNA that determines your peak performance, and ignoring it is like trying to swim against a powerful current. Biological alignment. Stop fighting your chronotype. This brings us to the most important and most overlooked piece of the puzzle: your chronotype. Your chronotype is your body's natural, genetically determined sleep-wake cycle. It dictates when you naturally feel sleepy and when you feel alert and energized. For decades, sleep scientists have categorized people into different chronotypes. While it's a spectrum, we can generally think of 3 groups. 1. Larks, or morning people. These are roughly 10 to 15% of the population who naturally wake up early, feel most energetic in the morning, and get tired early in the evening. 2. Owls, or evening people. This is another 15 to 20% who naturally stay up late, feel their peak energy in the afternoon or evening, and struggle intensely with early mornings. 3. Third birds, the majority. Most people fall somewhere in between. The 5 a.m. club is a system designed by larks for larks. If you are a natural owl, forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. isn't discipline, it's self-sabotage. You are chronically sleep-depriving yourself and forcing your brain to do its most important work when it's at its absolute cognitive worst. It's like trying to run a complex computer program on a laptop with only 5% battery and a bad Wi-Fi signal. It will be slow, buggy, and frustrating. True productivity isn't about adhering to an arbitrary time on a clock. It's about aligning your most important work with your peak biological energy. Here's your final action step. Conduct a personal energy audit. For 1 week, grab a notebook and every hour or two, rate your energy, focus, and creativity on a scale of 1 to 10. Don't change your routine, just observe it. You'll quickly see a pattern emerge. You'll discover your golden hours, that 2 to 4 hour window where you are an absolute productivity machine. Maybe your peak focus is at 10 a.m. Maybe your creative genius strikes at 4 p.m. Or maybe it's at 9 p.m. The goal is to protect and defend those hours for your deep work and schedule your low energy tasks like answering emails or running errands on your troughs. Stop fighting your biology and start working with it. That is the true path to sustainable success. So let's put it all together. The reason we fail at the 5 a.m. club isn't a lack of desire. It's a failure of strategy. We've been taught to use brute force when we should be using intelligent design. The transformation you're looking for doesn't come from waking up at a specific time. It comes from a fundamental mindset shift. Instead of forcing willpower, you will manage your energy by designing a zero-decision morning. Instead of building massive, intimidating habits, you will lower the activation energy by using the 10-minute rule to build effortless momentum. And instead of following a one-size-fits-all schedule, you will align with your biology by discovering your chronotype and scheduling your deep work during your personal peak hours.
This is how you stop fighting yourself and start building a system for success that lasts. This is how you forge your own path. We've just dismantled the myth of the 5 a.m. club, but what do you build in its place? A powerful, personalized routine is still one of the most effective tools for building the life you want. And that's exactly what we're going to build next. In my very next video, I'm breaking down what I call the architect routine, a flexible, three-part framework that you can adapt to your specific chronotype to guarantee a productive and powerful start to your day, whether that's at 5 a.m. or 9 a.m. It's the how-to that follows the why we discussed today. So you don't miss out on building your own perfect routine, make sure you subscribe to Forge Your Path and hit that notification bell. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know, based on what you learned today, are you a lark, an owl, or a third bird? There's no right answer, only your answer. Let's figure this out together. Thank you for investing your time today. Now go out there and let's forge a new you, one step at a time.